Hey Toolerinos, I've got a couple new Toollusions for the bucket of shame. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the term Toollusion, it was inspired by Mr. Pete, who described a tool that is essentially useless. It's made to look like a tool, but it is not functional as a tool. So it is the illusion of a tool, so I call it a Toollusion. This is an example of a popular little set of screwdrivers that I remember when I was a kid. Made in Hong Kong, and the handles are very brightly colored and they look cool, and it comes in a little set, but the screwdrivers are not hardened material at all. Even given the tiny amount of leverage that you could develop with this tiny little screwdriver handle, you still strip out the heads. So, not a tool, it's a Toollusion of a tool. So what do we do with Toollusions? They go into the bucket of shame. Never to return, unless of course I could find a use for one of their materials. The next Toollusion is a wire stripper. Now I admit I bought these from Harbor Freight some years ago to go with my electrical wiring tool belt. It's nice to be able to use the right tool for the job. It makes things go smoother instead of trying to use something like the diagonal cutters to just snip through the side of the insulation and try to remove some insulation without damaging the wire. So True Wire Strippers was a nice addition to my electrical tool belt, and I used them for a little while. Not long enough, because I expected them to last a long time given how little electrical wiring I do nowadays. And you know, I was working on the wiring for my son's shop and they failed. The plastic jaw on the bottom came right off. Well, there's your problem. I was made with darn cheap plastic. That's a joke, I work for a plastics company. Never mind. Anyway, so it's a Harbor Freight tool, and they still sell something very similar to this, but I won't be buying another one. I have vintage wire strippers now. I'm going to clean them up and add those to my tool pouch. And these are going in the bucket of shame. Never to return. Take your jaw too. Well, there's your problem.
Broken vise?
Central Forge.
Yeah.
Harbor Freight special.
I'm sure it was.
So there's the current listing for the 5-inch multi-purpose vise from Harbor Freight. $85. I don't think I'd pay that. Especially when it says here, compare it to Olympia. So let's compare it. So here's the Olympia as shown on Amazon. And there's the price, $121.95. You know, so it's a bit more expensive. But let's take note of something here, besides all the other differences. So what do you notice about the Olympia? The movable jaw is not hollow in the back. So I suspect it's much stronger. It'll be a much tougher vise, and should probably be worth the $30 or so extra dollars. So thanks for telling me where to look, Harbor Freight.